All right, everyone. It is NFL draft day. And with the 14th pick in the draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers selected Broderick Jones, the offensive tackle from Georgia. We've got Locked On Steelers host Chris Carter. I am Jourdan Black. But first, Locked On NFL's draft coverage is brought to you by Ultimate Football GM. You think you can run an NFL franchise? Well, visit ultimate-gm.com to play the ultimate NFL GM simulation game and start your dynasty today. Okay, Chris, walk us through this pick. Offensive tackle, cornerback, those were the keys for the Steelers. They went with offensive tackle. What was that mindset going in, and why Broderick Jones? What are they getting in that pick?
Certainly, Jourdan. The reason that they were looking at offensive tackle and cornerback, corner was the one position on defense that they were probably the oldest. They signed Patrick Peterson. They needed to get a young guy who was going to be eventually the future at the cornerback position. But this is a very deep cornerback class. You cannot say that about the offensive tackle position. And with the moves to sign Isaac Seumalo this year, they signed Mason Cole last year and James Daniels last year as well. They've got three interior offensive linemen they feel really comfortable with, including Kevin Dotson, who started all last year and might be a backup this year. But offensive tackle, is the one weak spot, and they want to make this a premier offensive line in the near future. Broderick Jones was my highest graded offensive tackle. He was the fourth offensive tackle to come off the board, as Paris Johnson, Peter Skoronski, and Darnell Wright all went off the board before 14. And for me, the Steelers had to get ahead of the curve. They needed to get ahead of the Jets, especially, who I think if the Steelers didn't trade with the Patriots, the Jets would have taken Broderick Jones there. There were a lot of people penciling in offensive tackle to that team. So a smart trade for the Steelers, as they only give up a fourth-round pick to move up 3 spots in the first round. Big hit for them. And to me, this is a home run of a pick. To me, it's, again, the top offensive tackle that I had graded in this draft class. Comes with a ton of upside. One thing that Mike Tomlin always loves to say, I'd rather say whoa than sick him, because he'd rather tell a player, hey, need you to pull back that aggression and let's coach you a little bit, than try to motivate a player who needs to get more aggressive. And that is the entire, I think, embodiment of Broderick Jones. His biggest mistakes on the field are when he's a little too aggressive and he punches in the wrong way with his hands and he misses his target, but he's never lacking effort. He's blocking very well in space. He's using his athleticism. He's being aggressive, being a bully. And they wanted a mauler to, one, block for Najee Harris to make this offensive line more stronger and have stronger run blocking guys there. But they also wanted to protect Kenny Pickett, who suffered 2 head injuries this past year that knocked him out for the Steelers at different points, and they know that he cannot afford to sustain more injuries like that in his second year in the NFL. So big move to get Broderick Jones there.
Yeah, when you look up Broderick Jones, you're going to see, a concern might be this over-aggression. Maybe another concern, lack of experience, but you're playing at a place like Georgia, right? So you're going to have so many guys who are full of experience. How does playing at Georgia help a guy like Broderick Jones coming from a school with pedigree like UGA?
Well, one thing the Steelers always do with their top brass, they always have the certain top schools that the top brass visits for their pro days. And every year, Mike Tomlin, Omar Khan, it used to be Kevin Colbert. Omar Khan's the new GM, Kevin Colbert, the old one. But when they go and visit, they take out the top guys that they're interested in every year from each school. And they talk to those guys and they get to know them. And they also get their perspective on other guys on their team. And Mike Tomlin said at the press conference here in Pittsburgh, right after they picked Broderick Jones, they said, listen, last year when we were talking to Georgia guys, we asked them who was the guy that we'd be talking about the most in the next year. And they said, it's Broderick Jones. And of course, like you said, the lack of starting experience at left tackle, there might have been a question mark there. And Mike Tomlin said he didn't even know Broderick Jones's name when they said that, but he kept the note of that when he started to watch Broderick Jones in playing college football this year. They were like, yeah, that's the guy that they wanted. So for me, for the Steelers, I think that they get a premier piece of what they're calling the picket fence, because they want to protect Kenny Pickett. And Broderick Jones can be a pillar offensive lineman, I think, for the next decade for the Pittsburgh Steelers. To me, a big home run of a pick, again, getting that value. And as we're looking at it right now, Joey Porter Jr., who a lot of people had slotted, including myself, as a potential first-round pick for the Steelers, it's still falling down, and they have the 32nd overall pick to start the second round. They might still get their one of their first-round projected cornerbacks falling to them in the second.
Yeah, so let's talk about what else the Steelers need to do, what picks they have left to make this 2023 draft a success.
Well, let's look at this. Cornerback still a major concern. I think I've heard that they really like Joey Porter Jr. Obviously, Steelers ties there with his dad being a former Steeler. Mike Tomlin literally used to go to Joey Porter Jr.'s high school games because his son was around that age as well. So there's a lot of connections there. But also on top of that, with Joey Porter Jr., by the way, he used to like cover Antonio Brown at Steelers training camp practices when he was a little kid, and like they would mess around. So he's been really tied in there. But the Steelers have also been rumored to really like Julius Brents. Both of those guys were top 30 visits for the Steelers. I also think that Brian Brzee, the defensive tackle out of Clemson, if he's still on the board, he's a consideration there. But here's the key at 32nd overall. The Steelers, Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan, from the combine to their pre-draft media sessions, they have all but made neon signs that says we will trade the 32nd pick for the right price. And I think they're trying to advertise, hey, we'll trade back and recoup some extra value of a pick if someone wants to move down and move up in the second round and maybe get one of the quarterbacks who, as we record this, Will Levis and Hendon Hooker both are still available at the quarterback position. If someone wants to trade up with this, the Steelers are going to be very willing and able. But if they think that they have absolutely their guy at 32, that might stop them. And I think Brzee and Porter are two of those guys. But if they don't get Porter at 32, I think they'd still be very happy with a Julius Brents out of Kansas State at 49.